Morning all. How are we doing? It's too hot to trade. Oh. Sorry, bear with me one sec. I just need to get a couple of bits sorted. There we go. Right. How are you all doing? Good weekends? Morning. Morning, Fabio. There's some Pengon. There we go. Yeah, going to be a heat wave today. Oh my god. 41 degrees in England. We've never had 41 degrees ever. I'm on the coast, so I'm only going to get up to about probably, I don't know, 30 something. But that's hot enough. So my office is a box basically, and I've got really dark walls, and it's absolutely baking. But hey, so drink lots of water. Before we start, I'm going to have a quick look at the news. We had the CPI for New Zealand last night. Morning, Daniel. Came out positive. We had a bit of a spike off the New Zealand, but not a lot. So I've got New Zealand dollar Swiss on at the minute. So when the news came out, we had a bit of a push up, but that didn't actually get anywhere. So New Zealand dollar hasn't really reacted to the news, which is a little bit surprising. But yeah, so nothing off the New Zealand on that news last night. Big week this week. Not quite sure how I'm going to handle the euro this week, but we've obviously got the euro rate coming out. We've got the monetary policy statement from the BHJ as well with Kuroda. So there's a few things going on this week. So we'll quickly whiz through them so we know what we've got to watch out for on what days. So today, obviously yesterday we had a CPI in the New Zealand. Today we've got a bank holiday in Japan. Quite often when there is a bank holiday for one of the majors, we get a fair bit of volatility on that currency as the other sessions kind of push it around a bit. So we may see a bit of yen volatility today, but we'll obviously find out when London gets going and New York. But so just be aware of that today, that if we do see a lot of yen activity, it's not necessarily an indication that the yen is doing anything. It's just that the yen's getting pushed around, so quite often it happens. We've got Sanders speaking today. That's it. So there's no news basically today. Monetary policy meeting minutes for the Aussie in the morning. That might give the Aussie a temporary move, but unlikely anything sustained is going to come out of that. So we might see a little bit of volatility in Asia on the Australasian currencies. We've got Bailey again speaking tomorrow evening. So again, nothing much tomorrow. Low speaking in the morning for the Aussie then on Wednesday, and then we kick off with the first major news, which is the CPI for the pound. So CPI for the pound is expected to go up to 9.3, so they are continuing rise in inflation. We've also got the CAD CPI then in the afternoon as well. So CAD and pound on Wednesday. Then Thursday we've got the BOJ's outlook. So we could see some potential shift in yen fundamentals on Thursday. So we've got the BOJ press conference. So Kuroda will be speaking on Thursday morning. This is usually sort of around about 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. This tends to happen. So we could have some decent impact on the yen, and potentially they may decide that they're going to announce something from a monetary policy perspective that might power up the yen. We've had there's nothing much overnight or over the weekend important from a news perspective, but we did have last week the Bank of Japan saying we need to keep an eye on what is going on with the FX rates, because they obviously it's important. the more this devaluation of the yen continues, the more difficult it becomes for them to trade. So they have got to step in at some point and stop their currency being devalued. So we just need to be very aware every time there is a BOJ press conference or anything comes out of Kuroda. So that's Thursday morning. And then the afternoon, 1:15, that's the biggie. That's the rates for the euro. So this will be the first euro rate change in 6 years. So it's going to be a big one. It's very difficult to tell whether or not the market has factored this in. So we've seen obviously the euro devaluing for years and years now, especially since coronavirus kicked in. So they've been talking about increasing rates and focusing on the September increase way more. The July one was kind of a given that we're just going to do this and we're going to do this and that's going to happen, and that is basically what we're going to get. We've had the same thing happen with many other nations, and a lot of them have increased their initial rate by more than anticipated, and that's had a big impact. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens with the euro. Obviously, the Swissy increased their rates without even telling us. They did tell us, obviously, there's no hint as to it was going to happen. So this one is going to be a tricky one to trade and to know what to do after it. I've got a feeling that the market may well have factored this in, and I think we'll probably get some kind of spike on the euro, but I've got a feeling it's not going to be a sustained one. But I'm waiting to see. I'm tempted to get on some euro. Euro US specifically because of the parity bounce, but it's very, very tricky to tell what to do. So we had this bounce off of the one last week on Thursday. We had a couple of days where we got the bounce, but we're just hovering at these highs again. So I kind of like a long on the Euro US, but looking at what we've got this week for the US dollar as well. We've just got Philly Fed on, excuse me, on Thursday, and then we've got PMIs on Friday, and that's it. So, excuse me, there's not a lot to. Sorry, frog in my throat. There's not a lot to kick the US dollar in any direction this week. So, it'll be very interesting what happens. Yeah, God, right, sorry. I'm trying to drink loads of water this morning, but it's obviously going down the wrong way. We've got retail sales for the pound as well on Friday, so that could be a biggie. We've got PMIs for the euro as well, following on from the monetary policy. We've also got the press conference as well, don't forget, on 1:45 after the rates. So depending on what Lagarde announces with this could be interesting, because we could have a lot of something unexpected in here, and then in the press conference they will calm the market down if something unexpected comes out. So you can get a reversal happening sort of half an hour later off of the spike. So you just got to be aware there's going to be a lot of movement on that. We've got CAD retail as well, and then obviously the PMIs. So it's big week for everything this week. So we need to sort of look at whether or not we're factoring that shift in on the euro or not. It still seems to be having a good morning so far now at the London Open. So we will see. I get the feeling we're going to hold this week, which is normally what happens ahead of a rate announcement. We get a currency kind of stabilise and sit in a range while the market is waiting for that announcement to come out, because what they don't want to do is take a long position or any type of position with a decent amount of money ahead of something that could completely throw their trade in the opposite direction. So we see a lot of accumulation going on, and they will accumulate in a direction, but logic would suggest, obviously, that we're going to see a correction in this drop, which we've had going on, for such a long time now. So we're putting in signs of a reversal. We've had a big drop before the reversal down to this parity level. It's all set up for a lovely long opportunity. But at the end of the day, increasing interest rates is the first step to trying to combat inflation, and interest rates are only going up by 0.25%, which is absolutely tiny. When you look at all the other countries that have come out with 0.5% increases, etc., and even bigger, we had 0.75 last week. 0.25%'s a real okay, well let's start to have a go at it. It's not, they're not doing anything dramatic here. It's just a tiny increase. So I'm not sure it's enough, and I'm not sure the market will see it that way either. But we'll find out on Thursday. Morning, Stevie. Treat yourself to an air conditioning unit. I know. We were talking about this at the weekend. The trouble with aircon units is you've got to have a whacking great condenser somewhere, either on the wall or outside the house, and it's just an ugly eyesore. Yeah, I had a portable one which had a hose you stuck out the window, but it made such a racket. Couldn't have it on. It was just too noisy. So yeah. Here in Spain, we live in the 40s most of next month. Oh my god. Yeah, that's what the pools are for. Yeah, you're all right. It's all right with if you've got a pool. I've got a sea, literally half a mile away, so I can always get to the sea. I was paddleboarding yesterday. A bit choppy yesterday, but it was wet and it was cold, so I was happy. Morning, Diamond. Yeah, right, so that's the news. So yeah, there's a lot of it this week, so be aware. We're going to see potentially a lot of volatility, so looking at what could happen beginning of this week, obviously the first real news kicks in with CPI and CAD, CPI for the CAD and the pound on Wednesday. So until then, it's fairly flat. So we may well see some sideways action beginning of the week. Just quickly going over the indices, because I'm just watching what the indices are doing. We've got this whacking great gap on the DAX this morning. Lovely fill. They've done the liquidity run before the open, and we've just opened. So there's your 5-minute opening range. God, we had a little gap down there, look. That's annoying. So yeah, potentially looking for that gap fill this morning on the DAX. I'm getting some short positions on the ES built. Not a massive amount of volume coming through this morning, but if you look at the dailies, we're at important points on the daily now. So for the DAX, we have this high coming up here. So they could potentially come up and test the high, test the 24 moving average. They've done the gap fill there. Just had an ADR on Aussie New Zealand. First one of the day, that's nice and early. So yeah, so DAX, we got this big gap fill to do. We are sort of holding, all the indices at the moment are holding in a range. Summer month, summer trading. So we've got this kind of range forming at the moment on the DAX. So we're up at the highs, so I would be looking for moves down over the next couple of days on these. NASDAQ, if you look at that as well, same sort of thing. Yeah, we've got this high here. There's our low, and we've got these range lows here. So we're sort of sitting here. We're up at the top. Yeah, this is where we rejected from last time. So somewhere up here, we're looking for shorts. This could be it, where we are now. So just gradually creeping lower. This could be the drop point here. So I like all of these short, all of them at the moment. But market structure is technically a long at the minute. So we've got a high, higher low, and we put in a lower high, a higher low. So we're kind of a little bit bullish, but not very symmetrical triangle type thing, exactly where we are at the moment. So if we come down from here, we've got a beautiful symmetrical triangle forming, contraction breakout to the short. So I like this short. We've had 3 up days, and they weren't just up days as well, they were gaps. So we gapped up again. So yeah, big point at the moment this week for potential shorts on all the indices. So NASDAQ's doing the same as the ES, as the Dow. So Dow's in a really good spot. So all around here, just like the idea of a short play. But we'll see. At the moment, we're just hovering around the inside range on the DAX. So, morning Trevor, ladder. So we'll see what happens with these. But ADR on Euro New Zealand. So New Zealand's starting to move now. By the looks of things. So Aussie New Zealand ADR high, and Euro New Zealand, I'd imagine, same thing. Yeah. Right, so just watching those. So pushing up, just trying to bullish engulfing on the running on the highs, which we seem to be rejecting at the moment. See if we can get an engulfing on this. Give us a clue as to where we're going. Obviously, we've got a bit of room to the upside. Sort of 70 odd pips to the upside, so about a quarter of an ADR move potentially up this morning into that resistance, but just seeing whether or not this is literally them just starting to sit into a range. Yeah, we didn't get that bullish engulfing, so this candle will be important. See where we go here. If we don't get back out of these highs here and hold, I suspect this is going to be the start of the bear run this morning, which would be a nice entry. Just going to watch that. Just going to watch tick strike and see if we get that coming in. Okay. So just quick recap. Friday didn't really do an awful lot. Blimey, they're off out the highs. Pound New Zealand ADR, got some decent movement going on this morning. ADR high hit. That looks like New Zealand dollar's weak. Yeah, it's weakening. So Friday, banked 0.36% on Friday, not a lot. What did I bank? So it's out of the way. Yeah, so closed out a little bit of oil up at the highs. So there's a couple of oil trades closed. In fact, it was all oil, wasn't it? Where are we? What was the date on Friday? 15th. Yeah, so that was it. Just 2 oil trades closed out. Didn't really get anything else going anywhere or moving. I've closed 1 oil out this morning. So if you remember, I had this 2 positions there next to each other. Both of them were 0.03s. Got into one with the EA, one manually. So I've just done a little drawdown control on that one, which is this position here, on Friday. I've just closed out the last part of that, so I did 2 drawdown controls on that, and then I was down to a 0.01, which this morning I've just closed that 0.01 out there, as you can see. So that's that trade there. So that was the last part of that 0.01. Now I've got 1 position running long on oil. So that was it for Friday. And this morning just done that 0.16. So I've got oil running. I've got New Zealand dollar Swiss running short still. So this hasn't gone anywhere. I've got 2 positions fairly close to each other. Again on this one, EA, 1 manual. So I've got 1 TP down at the lows. So I'm just going to take 1 position off down here, and then let the second one run. Not really gone anywhere this morning, so we'll see what happens with that one. I've got that one oil on. I've got Aussie dollar CAD on as a short. Again, too close together. I must stop doing this, but it's nice when it works, when it suddenly goes, and then I suddenly go, oh, actually, yeah. So I shouldn't have done it. But if we get a push up into these highs, hopefully we'll just get some kind of pullback on this one. We need some Canadian dollar strength, and obviously oil's coming up, so hopefully that will just start to happen anyway. Not gone anywhere for the last couple of days, so looking for that to come down. 2 positions on there, and I've got US dollar CAD on as well, so I've got a bit of not overloading on the CAD, but I've got multiple positions on the CAD, and I'm hedged on that as well. So the problem is at the moment the CAD isn't going anywhere, so it's actually the US dollar and the Australian dollar which are driving it, so I'm waiting for the CAD to kick in. So probably have to wait until Wednesday till the crude inventory barrel counts come out, and then yeah, we'll get some movement on one of those. So I'll be closing out one of them because obviously I'm hedged, so if one works the other one won't. So that one got buy on 2 positions, and we're just coming down into this accumulation, so looking for that move to continue. So yeah, that's where I am. Overnight on every New Zealand dollar pair except the one I'm on, New Zealand dollar Swiss. Yeah, movement. Yeah, I mean, this is there's no Swiss franc movement at the moment. We've had decent movement on everything New Zealand. This didn't move as much. It did actually move as much. You just can't see it because we're in this massive chop on it, which we've been in all week. But yeah, nothing particularly exciting there. We're just touching, breaking out the highs. We have broken out the highs. So next level of interest, obviously, is pre-market session high. So we'll see if we get a rejection up there as to whether or not they're going to get this gap fill done today. So it looks like it wants to go long, doesn't it? Crickets are going crazy. Morning, Alan. Big move up on Euro US dollar. Yeah. Bit of rejection showing there. Absorption. Yeah, we got a weak US dollar this morning. Everything's reacting against the US this morning. And we've also got a good strong euro by the looks of things as well. So yeah, big move. So this is the thing that worries me about this. I think I get the feeling is that there's a lot of people are thinking we need to start long in the euro, and that's kind of my gut feeling as well. But I just got a feeling because of the weakness, this little 0.25% token gesture increasing interest rates, that's all they're doing. I just get the feeling that it's not going to be enough, and it's what the market was kind of expecting. And I think the market might think we've been a bit let down, and actually it's not very good. And we might see just an accumulation start to build on the euro over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, difficult to tell. I really wanted to long it from here. I should have done, but I've been overcautious at the moment with what's going on with these interest rates, because you can get caught out wrong side of them. And as we saw with the Swiss franc, you know, if you get caught out the wrong side of it, you're going to get one of those, and you'll be stuck there for weeks in drawdown because you're the wrong side of the rate announcement. And we just don't know, do we, what they're going to do or what the market's going to do. Showing some nice rejection up at the highs on the DAX at the moment. So we want to see this candle close bearish. If this candle closes bearish and closes below the pre-session highs, that might be the start of the run to the south. But it doesn't look like it wants to stop, does it? It's off this morning. 15 minutes straight up. So all doing the same. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm just going to watch that out of the corner of my eye. I'm looking for an opportunity basically to get in short on this DAX. Where are we? What level is that? 130.12. Let's do that with a proper horizontal line, be easier. So somewhere around there. Oh, 9 probably, isn't it? There we go. Right, watch that level. If we get there, we'll see if we get a movement off of it. So we'll have a look at where we are with all the other pairs, etc., etc. So I just need to quickly set up a short position on my other account. Just getting ready to if this is going to come down quick, I'm not going to have time to react because I'm going to be doing other things. So I'm just setting up some futures shorts. Right. Exactly what happened to me Friday. I took on too many pairs, tried fading the Swissy move and got stuck in them for weeks now. Yeah, got to be careful. News. This is why everybody. You know, I still get it in my Telegram group and other Discord channels and other Telegram groups that I sort of monitor and watch. You get people going, "Wow, did you see that move? What was that?" It's like, what do you mean? What was it? We just had a rate announcement. It's like, oh, why does it move like that? It's like, you've got to be aware of the news. If you don't look at the news every morning, how on earth are you going to know when the market's going to be moving? You just got to be on top of this. It's very, 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 very important. Right. So let's whiz through the pairs and have a look at where we are. So we've got a couple of ADRs first to have a look at. Aussie, New Zealand. First one. So we've pushed up to the highs. So this is a long, I've been longing this for a while. Aussie, New Zealand. So buying the lows, beautiful 3-bar reversal there, lovely. I didn't get into this one again last week. I can't remember why I didn't get into it. I think I might have had some exposure on something else, or I think I maybe just couldn't be bothered because I've been milking this thing and it's not going anywhere. But that was the entry, obviously, last week. It's just coming up to the highs again, so probably not a bad short. However, this is a reaction to news, and actually it's a funny reaction. We've had a couple of these funny reactions lately. New Zealand dollar, CPI better than expected, and it's gone up. I say better than expected, it's not really better than expected, is it? It's gone up more than they want it to, obviously, because we don't want it to go anywhere. But yeah, inflation rise, and it tends to be positive most of the time, CPI figures, for some unknown reason. But we are just coming up into these highs, so potentially a nice ADR reversal. Again, at the moment, I'm still in super cautious mode. So 150 ADR on this one today. I would be interested in a short on that. Aussie, New Zealand. I don't really want to get into it just yet. Euro, New Zealand. Again, not playing anything on the euro until the rate announcements are out. As much as I want to. If I get into the trouble with ADR reversals, it depends how you're playing it. If you're playing an ADR reversal with a stop loss, no problem whatsoever. If you're playing an ADR reversal and you're going to turn it into a position trade, if it doesn't work out for you, I do not want to be shorting or longing the euro. So I don't really want to get into this one. It's already starting to play out. You're not going to get a reversal on this all the way down there. So you may have to play price action on it, but it's already gone. So if this now pushes back up again, there's loads and loads and loads of money coming into the markets at the moment. Very long. So if this pushes back up, and then you get another bearish move to the downside, you can use that as an entry. So M pattern doesn't have to be a reversal, obviously. You can use price action to do the same. So short potentially there as well. And pound New Zealand, again coming off of ADR. This is a difficult one. I like the pound short at the moment. So this one potentially is one that might be a decent one to get into, but because it's so range bound, this is where I was kind of looking for longs, and you could have got into a long on this on Friday, which you'll probably be out of now this morning. But it's, it is literally just chopping. So although we've got an ADR hit, it's potentially an ADR hit on the way to range highs, isn't it? So not necessarily the best one to get into, I don't think, at the moment. I'd rather wait for it to get up there and do an ADR hit at the highs for me. Then I'd be much more interested in it, but we'll see. So pretty good moves on this one to the downside, better than we've had previously, but again it's bounced out, but that's mainly on New Zealand dollar rather than pound, but I am short on the pound, so I want to be really taking trades up there. I'm not as comfortable longing it from the lows. So nothing really there that's interesting. Nothing on the weeklies, obviously. Monthlies are the same as we had last week. So all of these monthlies, basically, most of them, obviously, as you can see, are euro-based, which I'm not really interested in getting involved in. And then we've got the US dollar Swiss and the US dollar yen. US dollar yen, again, we've got Kuroda later on this week, but these were both longs. So again, nothing that I was interested in there either. Hourlies, nothing. 4 hourlies, the only things we've got are the Swiss yen, which is nicely extended at the moment until I hear otherwise. I'm long everything against the yen, so don't really want to be shorting, and same with the New Zealand dollar yen longs. So yeah, no ADRs either, so nothing's set up, but again, wouldn't expect anything to be much different to Friday when we looked at it all, because we've had the weekend and there's not been a lot of movement apart from the New Zealand dollar. So so we'll whiz through all the pairs. If anybody's got anything specific they want to have a look at, let me know. Crypto over the weekend, we are coming back up to the highs on Bitcoin. Ooh, what happened there? Why did that not draw? So this could potentially act as a level of resistance here. This is when we had that big collapse. This is where we tried to push back up a couple of times as well and failed, and then we came back up and tried to get above that level again. So that 22.5k is really where price has stalled out multiple times now, and we're just coming back up to that level. So it's quite an important test, this, to see whether or not they can make it through there. Just think back to what we've just looked at with all the indices and what's happening with the indices at the moment. Yeah, we're up at range highs on the indices, so potentially summer months we could see lots of range bound activity. So this is potentially a really good level to be shorting at. Slightly weak US dollar as well, helping this up this morning. So that's entering a level where we could well see, that shift starting to happen. We've got this accumulation here on Ethereum, which it's just tapping into as well. So all the cryptos looking really, really heavy, but a lot of people will still be trying to buy these up. But it is very, very, very linked to the indices at the moment. I learned something actually about Bitcoin at the weekend. There's an algorithm that runs on Bitcoin, apparently, which trades to keep it in line now with the S&P, which I didn't know. I have no idea if that's true or not, because, as I say, I don't trade crypto, but apparently they are trying to, there's an algo running to keep it in line as much as possible with what is going on with the stock market, to make it more of a tangible sort of trading instrument for larger institutions and things, which kind of defeats the object, because the larger institutions will go, well, what's the point in trading that? Then we might as well trade everything that's got fundamentals underlying it. So I don't know. Anyway, I don't trade it. But if this does break this level, look out above. We've got nothing to stop us until we get to that accumulation. So this thing, if it does break these highs and we get some momentum behind it, could be a hell of a move to the upside coming. Lots of money to be made if you want to trade it. Gold, we are bottoming out. Again, every move on this is going to be more linked to the US dollar than anything else. So at the moment we're very extended to the downside on it. I don't think anything's going to change really, to be honest. I think we're just probably going to chop and grind towards the downside on it, but say I don't trade it because it's too volatile. And oil, we're off on our run to the upside, so got that one position on. Not quite sure where I'm going to take this off, to be honest. It all depends on how this moves really, but what I might go for initially, it's not quite 0.5% there. Might go for the highs, the recent highs on it initially. I'll see how this gets on today, and I'll see what the rest of the portfolio is looking like. But yeah, I think initially looking for movement up to there, and then the pullback, and then looking for longs on that one. So we'll see how that goes. I guess it would depend on if there's enough retail liquidity for them to siphon off from crypto. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how it all works, to be honest. But you know, I've been saying for ages that crypto seems to have just fallen in line with indices activity. So when we get bullish activity in the markets, crypto seems to go up. When we get bearish activity, it seems to come down. So for ages, it's you know, it's obviously been linked in some way, shape, or form, because you can visibly see it on a chart doing very similar things. But I just had an article pop up on my Facebook feed from one of the crypto exchanges, just explaining about the algorithm to try and keep the balance of volatility with the general S&P markets and futures. So if it makes sense, if they're trying to do that, then it's always going to fall in line, isn't it? Because the volatility in the markets is going to be reflected in the crypto markets. The thing I don't get is, everybody and their wife seems to be taking out bank loans at the moment, trying to buy this thing up, and God forbid it falls, everybody's going to be in big trouble. But I don't quite see how, if they've got some kind of algorithm signing, and whose algorithm is that account running on? It's not an official peg. And this is the whole thing about it, isn't it? It's all anonymous, it's all encrypted, it's all nobody knows. There could be one bloke out there now sitting on $25 quadrillion in profit on crypto, because he's the man that made it, and all of a sudden he's going to cash out. This thing's just going to go. I have no idea, but anyway, I don't care, to be honest. So right, Aussie dollar CAD. We'll start at the top, work our way down. So Aussie dollar CAD, I'm basically short on this based on Canadian dollar. So looking for the Canadian dollar to get dragged along to the upside, along with oil. The Canadian dollar, we've got CPI coming out on Wednesday, so it may well be that we have a little bit of weakness until Wednesday. And then we've got retail sales on Friday as well. So just waiting for some volatility on the CAD, really, just to get some movement. The Aussie dollar is obviously weak against the CAD. It's weak against a lot of things, obviously not against the New Zealand dollar. Well, it is actually, because it's one of the weaker of the lot. So no reason really coming up why we should get any massive strength off of the Aussie dollar. We have got quite a bit of volatility inducing news events for it this week. We've got monetary policy tomorrow morning, and then we've got low speaking again on Wednesday. So we could see some decent volatility on this pair this week, so I'm not really that worried about it. I've got two positions on too close together, but that's my initial position. So I will see what happens. This is the area that I'm interested in, what happens at. So we've got this lovely area of support resistance coming up at the 24. So when we get up to there, I'll be taking a second position short. And hopefully that's where we're just going to get the Canadian. So if they can time it nicely to get up there in the next couple of days, we should see a nice drop on that one starting. Aussie dollar Swiss. That's my point. So many people put money into the crypto pair. So there's easy money for the banks to come and take. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even if they mirror the ES. Yeah, and the ES is going to come down, you know. We're just approaching on the DAX that resistance. This is a big round number as well, 13,000. So I'm just moving some positions around. Okay, so we tapped into it. Aussie dollar Swiss we're on. So that's that level there. So there'll be a lot of money, potentially a lot of limit orders sitting up there, trying to add into their speculative shorts potentially. So we'll see what the buyers make of this level. With tick strike certainly bullish at the moment. So we're looking basically for a load of red to suddenly start to appear on tick strike, indicating that the sellers' limit orders are being triggered, and we want to see some big players starting to come in. See if we can get that moving back down again now. But that's the level on the daily as well. Look. So it's the gap down fill double top. So if we're going to remain in this kind of rangy activity, that's where we should be starting to see some kind of resistance coming in. So there's more room on the US indices as well, on this as well. So tricky. Any one of these levels. This is why you need to look at all of these in tandem. Yeah. So the Dow, we're just about to hit it. The S&P's got a little bit of room. So is the DAX. So is the NQ. Brain's gone dead. Nasdaq. But we're there on the DAX. So they're obviously all out of sync. You're never going to get exactly the same level on all. But if this thing pushes through and we stop pushing hard, we may find these guys continue to push up. And these are one of the ones we're going to start to get that reaction. So looking at all three, you can kind of sort of time when you think the market might start to turn. So we'll see. We're at decent levels on it. Aussie dollar Swiss. So this one basically is a short at the moment based on Swiss franc strength. We haven't had an awful lot of continuation last week. It's just been horrible. Over the last week, everything was sideways, which was good because we made a load of money on lots of range-bound trades. But we're just pushing up to the most recent highs there on the Aussie Swiss. Swiss franc should continue to be fairly strong. We're not getting an awful lot of evidence of continuation strength in it at the moment. It's just kind of flagging and flip-flopping around down here. But be much more interested in shorts than longs on it. So any kind of ADR hits to the high or RSI extensions on hourly and 4 hourly, potentially good levels to start looking at shorts. We've got this area of resistance here. Obviously it's a very, very strong support resistance. We tapped into it multiple times. When we finally broke through it, we were not interested in going back above that level. So if we get a hit on that, should get a nice double top reaction as well. So Aussie dollar Swiss shorts, but it's kind of not really there at the moment. Aussie yen longs, it's already going. The same as the Aussie New Zealand longs is going. So I'm looking for basically pullbacks to get into this. Didn't get into it last week. Still pushing new highs on the DAX. Aussie US. This one is for me is a short. We're just coming up to areas where it might be a little bit interesting to get into this one. I'm kind of already in it because I'm in Aussie short and I'm in a US dollar long, so I'm kind of in it indirectly at the moment. But yeah, like it as a short opportunity. It's been very uniform with its pullbacks recently. If you look at the size of each of the pullbacks, it's very, very regular at the moment. But we have just put in a new high, so we put in potentially a peak formation low there. So the market structure shifted back up. So the next pullback will be important because the next pullback will either confirm this reversal alert, retest it, and it will go, or it will come down and make a new low, in which case then we will be looking at market structure being sort of that. So difficult to tell. Okay, so we've got some rejection just starting on the DAX. There we go, right at that level. We've got some sellers now starting to appear. So this could be the start of that reversal point. Nice double top rejection. So watch this candle. Bearish reaction on this one could well be it if you want to try and pick the reversal point. I mean, obviously the market structure is potentially just going to go like that for the rest of the day. I don't know. But if we are going to get a reaction, this is it. Aussie US, so yeah, shorts on it. It's still pushing this morning on weak US dollar. Aussie and New Zealand tend to move together. So we'll see what happens with the New Zealand dollar throughout the rest of this day. But yeah, like this as a short opportunity, so you can drop down to lower time frames, look for a reversal alert. Crikey. Big strong push. So yeah, reversal alert on this one's quite tricky because it's all the way down there. But you know, don't forget we're trading at H4 here. So you know, although that's quite a distance, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, you know, if you get in here, it's not a problem. You know, we're looking to target back down at lows. So, would you consider holding the oil trade from Friday up to 105, 110 barrel? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to watch. I'm just going to monitor oil. So that's Aussie dollar, US dollar. So we've done all the Aussies, so I remember where I am. Yeah, I mean, I'm targeting just under 105, 104 something. But the reason I'm targeting that is for that high, basically. I like oil up to 150 a barrel. It's just been dropping so far on a lack of supply. It makes no sense for it to go much further than where it is. $90 a barrel is pre-Ukraine. This is where what we've done is the market has corrected itself basically back down to pre-Ukraine levels. So this is where the crisis will start to kick off. Loads of confusion. What the hell was going on with supply and demand? Who's going to be giving us the oil now and the gas and everything? And it all went mental. But that's where we were going. We were going up on oil, and we came back down and retested it. So this is what I'm looking for, a continuation. And I don't think this is the peak of pricing. This crisis is not averting. It's still going. There's no reason why we shouldn't get decent moves up on oil. At least back up to sort of 120. But you know, hold it as long as you like. You know what I do. I mean, I'm in and out and in and out. So I might this afternoon. This could hit ADR, and I could look at my portfolio. And again, it all comes down to you and what your position is. If I'm sitting here on 0.5%, everything's starting to go green, and I can see I can put another 0.75% or 0.5% in the bank, I'll put it in the bank, and then I'll add it on again. So I'll come back into oil. Let's say it pushes up to ADR today, and I think I'm just going to take it. When it comes back down tomorrow, I'll get in again. I like to get in on moves because, you know, it's the same thing. If you get this is what everybody does. They get into a trade, they put a stop loss, they put a TP, and they sit there while it does that, and then it goes either there and they go, yes, that was an excellent trade, or it goes down to there and they get stopped out at break even or stop loss, and they go, oh, that trade didn't work. it's much better to get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out, while this is thinking about coming to your TP and making profit 4 or 5 times on the way. Yeah, if you've got a bias on something, you think something's going in a direction, doesn't mean you have to hold it. It just means you want to get in every chance it gives you to get in. Or if you don't want to do that and you want to hold your TP up there, next time it pulls back, add a position. While you're still in profit on it and it pulls back and looks like it's going again, add another one. Add another one. Just don't get out of any of them. Just build a bigger position, which is what a lot of the banks do. There's lots of options. But yeah, to answer your question in a very long-winded way, yeah, 105, 110, I think is going to be next stop. But I think it's going to be next stop 105, not because of the price point, because of that's where we last tried to get to and the market rejected it. When we come back and retest that level, I think we'll probably break it this time. But, you know, nothing's in our control. We'll see. Okay, so there's your Aussies. So we still had another push there on the DAX. Got 40 seconds left on this candle. We tried and failed to make a new high, so watch this next 30 seconds and see if they can hold this high, the buyers. Five seconds, looks like they're going to do it. Okay, so, nah, I'd class that as a failure, wouldn't you? Just, yeah, I mean, look at the we're not interested this level, are we? Sellers are starting to take control now. I'm going to have a crack short on that on the futures. I think this might be the point. We'll see. If we get bearish engulfing off this candle, I'd say we're probably off. Right, CAD Swiss. So this is a tricky one because it's potentially a long bias and against a long bias. The CAD hasn't had the strength over the last week. We've had a bad week on the CAD last week. Hasn't managed to make any progress as the US dollar has into this area. So I'm looking for this to try and have a go at this level, the CAD, for some strength, but it's going to need to do it while the Swissies kind of asleep, which also that is at the moment, hence obviously an accumulation because we've had nothing much off of either of these currencies in the last week. So it's a difficult one to tell. So I'm not trading this at the moment because there's two really obvious options: is to come up into this propulsion gap to retest it, the same as the US dollar Swiss did. Yeah, we've got that retest perfectly. And then the other option is that the Swissy starts its next leg and we just get gradually pushed down and grinded down. So there's just not really a lot of movement in it. And because this is now potentially that sort of bias, you know, if we've got something long against long, you tend to get a range. So that's what we've got. So yeah, not really interested in any shape or form at the moment. So the direction is very hard to read as to which one is going to take control, and it's only a 67 ADR, so you're going to be sitting in it for a week, waiting for a news event to give you 8 hours of movement like that so you can get out of one trade. It's just not worth tying exposure up in. CAD yen longs, again, not really any movement off of the CAD. The yen's been sitting there nice and weak, waiting for people to take advantage of it, and CAD just hasn't. So again, not a lot of movement. I'm long on it. I would be long on it, as you can see. I've had lots of longs on it, but it's just not. Last week it didn't get anywhere. So you can see last week when we opened, we had a little push up, little push down. We pushed up, rejected those highs, pulled back down again. So I was looking for long opportunities. That was the long. We didn't get back down to the 24. We got nowhere near even 40 exposed on the RSI. It just didn't give me any entries. But I would be looking for long opportunities if we get a pullback. I just don't think we're going to get one. The only way we'll get one is if Kuroda comes out this week with the yen conference on Thursday morning. That way, then we may get some strength coming into the yen, which gives us an entry. But if he comes out and he pumps the yen, I may not want to get in long on this because it may be a fundamental shift on the yen, in which case, obviously, we could have a complete collapse as we did there. So, difficult to trade, not interested. Swiss yen, same sort of thing, really, waiting for Kuroda. The Swissie's not really had huge amounts of power. It's done all right, but not massive. I was already in other trades, so I couldn't take this one, but that was a lovely double bottom or triple bottom bounce, basically. There was your trade last week, so I'll be waiting for it to come back down again, possibly even just down to those highs for a little leg up again. But right now, I'm not interested in mean reversion on it. This is extended on the RSI, and it probably will pull back, but my bias is that way. I don't want to take a chance on trying to short it. Euro odd, all the euros basically, up to you what you want to do on them. This Thursday, potentially we've got a fundamental shift happening in directional bias. So the market, as you can see, has been holding this sideways for months. This week could be the week where all of a sudden we go, right, yeah, Euro is sorting their life out. They're now along. We want to be buying the Euro from here on. Until I know that, I'm not going to enter any positions on the Euro, unless it's an absolute screaming 225, 250% ADR reversal. Then I might consider taking a trade. And I don't really care which direction, but I'll know I've got 2 days to get out of it. And if I'm not out of it in 2 days and that news hits and it's the wrong side, you're in trouble, or that's where you're going to make your money. But too risky for me. Right. If the news wasn't coming out, if the rate announcement wasn't coming out this week, I'd be looking for a long. So you can take a long here, but it could at any point, depending on where it gets to, pull back down. So there's plenty of room on something like this right now, but I just don't like it just because of the fundamentals. There's other pairs out there I can trade, so there's no point in getting too much risk on the Euro ahead of a news event like that, I don't think. But if you're not risk averse like me, go for it. Maybe try a stop loss trade. Get stopped out on it if it dumps. Try on something like that. Same with all these really. Euro CAD, you can see I longed the Euro CAD off of that ADR extension that we had, and I said, RSI, sorry, not ADR extension. The RSI extension, it was like down to 15. I was like, well, this is just too good to miss. It's highly likely we're going to get the pop, and we did. But like I've always said on it, if you're going to get the pop, just not going to get very far when you got into the accumulation. So not interested in this at all at the moment. It's midline RSI, way too extended, and we've got potential for it to go either way this week. Same story, Euro Swiss. We're just about to get a reverse alert on the 4 hour on Euro Swiss after nearly a month of sitting there trying to get a reversal alert. Not a month, but 2 weeks we've been sitting there. This is it. We're going to get the reversal alert now, finally. Just not interested in it at the minute until we know what's going on. So you've missed the move on it. If you wanted to take something on this, it was this morning, but you'd never know it's going to pump like that. So just not good. And it's Euro Swiss. This is the currency when we've had any kind of weakness in the euro, as we've had for ages. The Swiss franc's just been battering it, and it's been doing it for absolutely ages. So this could be where the tables turn, but don't forget these two are in bed together. Euro Swiss, they're in the same area, they're in the same zone. A lot of euro money goes into the Swiss banking system, So they don't tend to deviate away from each other an awful lot. One is always in control, and it's always been the Swissy. Could be changing this week. So again, just not really interested in putting any risk onto that. Euro pound is a short against a short at the moment. This one could be one that we start looking for longs on. So RSI extensions to the downside potentially from now on may well be worth a shot. The indices, just by the way, have just completely stalled out. We've got no liquidity in the market. Look at this gap we've just had formed on the DAX. The market's just, all markets have just gone completely flat and dead for some reason. Just all stalled out at the same level, same time. There we go. We've got some sellers starting to come in now. It's just a bit weird. I liken that to like a plane stall. You know when you're flying up super high, you're pitched way too high up, and the engine's cut out, and the plane just goes. Vroom. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that to light up red and sustained, because I think we've hit the high. Run out of oxygen. Alan, is there a way to search for a market in MT4? I've been through all the symbols and I can't find a WTI. Well, yeah, symbol list. That's all. That's all you get. If your broker doesn't supply you with it, it won't. It might not be WTI. It could be under crude. There's no way to search. No. It's just in your list. You just have to open up all your lists. Yours will all look different to mine because each broker is different. You just have to. Yeah, NQ. They'll all be rolling over at the same time. The indices. Yeah. So euro pound. Like it for potential longs moving forward, just not now, but soon. So this, you can see on the chart here, obviously we got this level of support which held and held and held, and I said if we're either going to tap that and go, but as it's the fourth knock on the door, likely we'll slam it, and we did, but we pushed back up again. So potentially I like this as a long. It's never ever had a high ADR euro pound, because this is all going to change now as well, don't forget, because we've now exited Europe. The euro pound have got a lot more opportunity now to spread away from each other and do our own thing. So we're still massive trade partners and always will be, but I think we could see some more volatility start to come in on these two. So when we get the euro powering up, if it happens, we could see some decent moves on this as the pound continues to tank. So, but right now it's just not anywhere, is it? Euro yen again long. We had a long opportunity on it last week. I didn't take it. There was better yen pairs out there to trade, and we're coming up into this propulsion gap at the moment. So I'm just this week's a weird week for news, because I'm waiting for Kuroda to imminently just say, right, we've had enough. This is what we're going to do, and the yen's going to power up massively. It's the same week as the euro could power up massively. So. I don't really want to get involved in this at all. It's like a massive boxing match this week. First punch is going to be thrown by the euro. Second punch could be thrown the next day by the, or no, same day. Same day, isn't it? Actually, it's they're both on Thursday, I think. Yeah, both on Thursday. So yeah, yen could come out swinging Thursday morning. Euro comes out swinging Thursday afternoon. So just volatile as hell. Not interested. Volatility is brilliant. That's what we need as traders to make money, isn't it? We need the market to move. We need it to be volatile. Otherwise, we can't make any money. But there is such a thing as too much volatility. You could just get whipsawed to death on it, and it, go nowhere. If we get a power struggle on these two, and they both suddenly power up at the same time, all you're going to get is that. So one will be stronger than the other, though, I suspect. But we'll see. So technically, at the moment, I like it as a long, but it was a long last week. So. Euro New Zealand, same thing as the other euros. I like it down here for longs now. I wish it hadn't have broken this area that I'd identified as support and resistance. It looked like it was holding, then we broke down, now we've broken up again. So it is kind of holding, but it's just undirectional as it is at the moment down here. Long term, I think probably yes, we'll get some decent movement to the upside on this, because the New Zealand dollar is a little weak at the minute. Got a decent ADR on it, it's worth a shot, but it just didn't fit with me. I wasn't really interested in it last week, and I'm still not really interested in it this week at the moment. But if you are interested in it and you are just assuming that we are going to get some strength on the euro, this is a good opportunity to get in here. You kind of just missed the boat on it though this morning. It's gone in Asia. So, but all we're doing is moving up into that area. So you could take the next pullback as a long off of the ADR. So yeah, like it as a long, but just not for me right this second. We've talked about this one. It's already gone. This was the parity bounce. Took 3 attempts and it did break quite substantially, but that was the liquidity run. This was the, if you want to see this will probably be used by many trading educators as an example of many different theories. So you got, this is a textbook Wyckoff spring, high accumulation pop. That is absolute. If you wanted to write Wyckoff as a textbook, that's it. We've got a double bottom bounce liquidity run, so all the smart money trading educators will be using it as a liquidity run example. The double bottom pattern traders will be using it as a double bottom bounce. It's just spot on, exactly what you would expect to happen, which worries me, because the entire market is now long on this and the banks are sitting there going, oh look at all the money down here, and we've got massive news events coming up, so just be careful. But it's got to turn some point. At some point they leave those stops in place, and these are the guys that make the money. So that could well be it. It's certainly going this morning. The banks are moving it. So yeah, like it a lot for longs. But just we could have some US dollar strength suddenly come in. We've got real mixed bag going on at the moment. We've got negative US movement. We've got a little bit of positive DAX, so there's a bit of divergence going on at the moment in the market, which is unusual. We're kind of accumulating a little bit where we are, so they're building up for a break in one direction or the other soon, so we'll see which way this lights up. If this keeps selling like this and we don't get anywhere, I suspect we're probably going to break to the upside. I'm just watching what's going on with the futures as this selling's coming in. We are ticking down on futures as the selling come in, so may well be it. Don't know. Timing is everything in futures. So it's gone quiet again. It's not sustained. Okay. So yeah, like it as a long. If you want to take the risk, I'm not taking the risk on the euro at the minute. I'm being uber cautious. Pound odd, a mess, just a mess. It's a short. I like it short. I could have got in up here. I think I was exposed on the Aussie at the time, so that was the short. It's pushing up again at the moment, so you could use a fib on that and look for sort of retracement levels for the next level down, or just wait for it to come back to the 24.72 area for another short. But right now I'm not interested in longs again. We're just not getting the RSI alerts. The RSI dash has been so quiet for the last week. It's bizarre, but yeah, we're just not getting the movement at the minute. Pound CAD, looking for shorts on this one as well. So any kind of pullbacks, see I've got in that short there. Any kind of pullbacks, I'll be looking to get in short on it. For me, I need an ADR hit to the upside. I need us to be up at the 24 somewhere, or I need some kind of RSI extension on the hourly or 4 hourly to get in short. So it's pushing up the right way at the moment, but I want it to go further for shorts. So watch this one potentially today. If we get any decent movement above these highs, up at ADR. That is probably a good one. I can't do it because I've got CAD exposure on already. But for you guys, if you're interested, there's potential CAD short, pound CAD short. Pound Swiss, same thing, like this short. Market's pushing up at the moment off of this triple bottom bounce. Again, there's a load of liquidity under there. They haven't come and grabbed it. Yeah. So what they have done, and this is, again, this is something probably a load of trading educators will use, depending on whether or not they've got the same view as me, which is never use a break-even stop loss. But think about this one, if you do use break-even stop losses. If you'd have entered long anywhere in here, you'd have entered it coming out of this area, wouldn't you? Bloody hell, they're buying again. Wow. Buying flow just came in there. If you entered long out of any of these, as soon as this starts to move and gets up to this area, what do? You protect it. You put your stop loss in at your break even. What do? They come down and they take that stop loss out, and then they move it, and then you go, I'm getting in long because I was right, and you get in long there, and it's part of a move down, and then they take out your stop loss. So not only do they take you out at break even and annoy you, then when you get in your second bite of the cherry, because it looks like it's pushing up again, you put your stop under there where it initially was, and they actually come and take your stop too. Double whammy. Yeah, so pushing up at the moment. It's a sell. So I'll be looking for shorts up there somewhere. If we can get up there on pound Swiss, I can get the pound Swiss on actually, can't I? Yeah, I've got no pound exposure on at the moment, so I am looking for some pound exposure. I'm just looking for the pound to push so we can get in short on it, but it's not really giving me any opportunities as yet. So pound yen, it's a long at the minute, but Thursday it might not be, depending on what happens with the monetary outlook from Bank of Japan. So I'm not really going to get involved in this one at all. There's better yens out there, I think, but we are just coming up to a double top area, so highly likely we're going to get some kind of rejection today. It's unfortunate it's not up at an ADR, but not really any direction on it. It's a symmetrical triangle. We're contracting. It's going to break at some point in one direction or the other. I don't know which at the moment. Depends on what happens this week. Pound New Zealand. There's your long. Again, it's really annoying. I want to go short on New Zealand dollar. We're coming up to 125 ADR extension. This is the only pair. It's not in the right place to go short on it for me. I want it up here. So, don't know. That's 260 pips. That's just that's about 1.5 ADR ish up to the highs. So I'm going to monitor this pound New Zealand. If we get this extended sort of up to possibly 125, I might start having a look at it. Maybe 150. Then I will be interested in potentially starting a short position on this. So I'll happily start one maybe somewhere around here if it gets up here. Fully expecting to have to add until we get up to these highs. You know, so I'd rather be up at these highs and add, because that's where I think it's potentially going to go. There's nothing really telling me at the moment. You know, we're putting in ever so slightly lower lows. We've got an expanding wedge forming, and expanding wedges are so hard to trade. You know, well, if I'm selling here, potentially I'm selling when we're going to come up to here, which is not really sensible, but it's the pound. So we've got no news catalyst much this week. I suppose we have actually, haven't we? We've got retail and we've got CPI. Yeah, of course we have. Oh, it's a tricky one. I just like it short, but I just don't like this one. I'm struggling to find a pound. I suppose pound US dollar is probably the best thing, isn't it? Yeah. I think you can get in short on any of these pounds, really. None of them are 100% positioned in the right spot, but I'm interested in taking one. Not interested in taking that one, really. Because if Kuroda comes out and says nothing, everything's going to spike against the yen on Thursday. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to watch these and see where London takes them today. Don't forget the yen, the Japan's on a bank holiday as well. So I'm just I'm waiting to see what sort of movement we get this morning. It all looks very nicely bullish, which is brilliant because it's all ready to short. But I think potentially we could get a decent move on these ones this morning. We've got very weak US dollar. If New York come out and do a continuation move, we're going to get somewhere up into the high sort of 150s, 175s on some of these on ADRs. So I want to be getting in up there. I don't really want to get in just because I want to get short on a pound pair. We're extended on the hourly, coming up to double top on the pound US. So this is kind of spot on. Oh God, what is going on with this market this morning? Wow. Another push on the indices. Really stuck. $20 level on the DAX. It's just been rejected again. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. Well, I'm not thinking out loud. I'm thinking in my head about what to do on this one. I'm just toying with the idea of setting the EA up to get me in with pound US dollar short. I think I might do that. Decision made. What's my exposure on the US? One. That's right. So, pound US. 256. Okay, pound US, I'm going short on the next reversal. So hopefully the next reversal won't be until we get a decent push somewhere, but if it does, it does. I just don't like that pound New Zealand as much. I just don't like it, especially with what's happened with New Zealand this morning, which we're just coming on to now. That's not the reaction I was expecting off of the New Zealand CPI figures this morning. I was expecting more of that. We didn't get it. So we may be just doing a liquidity run there. Sorry, I'm just putting some positions in place. Yeah, so I because we didn't get the movement, I don't like this one. The pound's taking far too much advantage of that New Zealand dollar weakness. I just get the feeling it's probably just going to get higher today. So if you like pound New Zealand, I would be really interested in it at 150, 175 ADR today, if it can get there. If you're feeling a little bit risky, 150, 125. But I just got a feeling that because of the way that this is trading at the moment, it's in a holding pattern, and I think we're going to get some decent movement on it. This, the old days, this was 300, 400 ADR. It's 150 at the moment. There's just not a lot of volatility in it. And the New Zealand dollar, I was expecting to dump this out the bottom and start giving it some direction on it, but it hasn't done it. So I'm going to leave that one. I'm going on the pound US dollar. There you go. Talk myself into it. New Zealand dollar CAD is a short, lovely reversal there. I've got all my CAD on. That's a lovely little level to get in for a position. 15-minute was during the Asian session this morning. It's just pulled back down and it's pushing up, so potentially a nice little short right now. It's come off of a triple top rejection. Yeah, so remember, we knock on the door 3 times. 4th time we normally slam through it. We completely rejected it. I think that's a short. with some CAD strength. So it looks like a lovely short. I can't take it. I'm overexposed on the CAD. New Zealand dollar Swiss, I'm on. Same thing with this one. I'm waiting for some Swissy strength to come through. New Zealand dollar is not powered up much on that CPI, so I kind of like it weak. Not gone anywhere last week, so I'm just looking for this breakdown to start. So I'm going to take a profit on one of those positions because they're a bit too close together, but looking at ultimately for the lows. New Zealand dollar Swiss, so that's a nice short. So we're just range bound at the minute. New Zealand dollar yen, tentative long. There's better longs out there. The US dollar yen was much nicer, and the CAD yen was much nicer, which were ones I took, and they worked out very nicely. Not going anywhere at the moment. We've just come up into resistance, which we are starting to reject at the minute. But again, this one you're waiting for Thursday for the yen to see what Kuroda does with it. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, like this as a short as well. We've got multiple resistance levels that we've got coming up to test. This one here, this high, we just kept tapping into this level here, which we've just done again, and it's rejecting. It's just retesting this level at the moment. So if you like this short based on US dollar strength, you've just had a reverse alert and we're just retesting it now. So this will be in a second when this breaks down and closes back down below that level, that you'll get your retest arrow on that. That's a nice little level for potential shorts, New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So we're just pushing back up into those levels again. Did a little liquidity run there. We've just rejected these highs. They could come back up, take out that liquidity, and then go from there. So just, be aware. If it pushes up, doesn't mean you're wrong on it. It just means they're probably just reaching for another level. So US dollar news coming out later in the week could well kick that one into some movement. This has gone flat as a pancake again. We are really, really stuck at these highs. The market doesn't know what to do up here. Wide stops this morning. So US dollars, US dollar CAD. I'm long, still coming down this morning. Weak US dollar. Just neither of them are taking control at the moment. We've got just a lot of weakness coming through at the start, which is why the indices are pushing up at the minute. So pull back anywhere down here. I'll be looking for getting another entry on this one. That might be a bit close actually. Maybe. It's roughly half an ADR, just over. So any pullback down to this double bottom, look for a triple bottom bounce off of that. But again, this is a strong against a strong from a currency perspective. I was hoping this one was just going to go last week on news and we didn't get it. So I'll probably have to wait until crude on Wednesday potentially for that. US dollar Swiss, I like it as a short, which is weird because I don't normally short the US dollar. But I just like the fact that this one is the one that made it back to test this area on the Swiss franc, and the sellers did step in and say no. So I kind of like it as a short, but it is, again, I'm kind of biased both ways on this at the moment. So where we are at the minute, highs and lows are the places you should really look to take your entries. Bang in the middle of a range is a difficult spot. Up there, I was already exposed and I couldn't get in, but that is where I said I wanted to short it from, obviously where I put that red box. So yeah, it's kind of already gone, so you can't really take any trades on it at the moment. We were ever so dead with the Swiss franc, and since the rate announcement we saw some power come through on the Swissy, so it's now come back to life. So we're going range bound on it, but look, it's just a weird old range thing we've got going on at the moment, this thing. So not really any interest, any opportunities here. Lows or back up with these highs is where I'd be interested in starting positions, and we'll be nicely extended on the RSIs then. But we've got the RSI extension. It's all perfectly set up for that short. I just was exposed other ways and I couldn't get on it. US dollar yen longs at the moment until Thursday, and then we'll see. But yeah, like it long. I want it down here, really. I've been looking for an opportunity to get in. See all these trades I had. These were really risky, these trades, but they worked. Now that we've had such a kind of sustained push on this for such a long time, I think it's going to start to weaken a little bit. So I'm really looking sort of down 24.72 on this now to start getting in, anywhere below the 24 moving average and the 72 for longs. But as I say, at the moment it's not quite where I want it to be. If we get an ADR hit on this today, I might be interested in a little long. Just worried about obviously being out of it by Thursday, because if Kuroda comes out and says this is what we're doing and everybody now loves the yen, this thing's not going to be very easy to get out of, especially with the weakness we're seeing in the US dollar. You know, just nothing. If this has got nothing and the yen's got loads, that's going to happen fast, and we're not going to get a chance to get in it. Remember what happens in trends? We walk up the stairs and we fall down the elevator shaft. So I don't want to be stuck when we're falling down an elevator shaft in any way, shape or form with a long position. So again, too much. It's too risky. The market's just very difficult to get into at the minute. So taking good setups that look like they've got half a chance of working, which has been working all month. I'm up to 11% now for the month, so it's going good, but I'm not going to take any unnecessary risks. So that's it. That's all the pairs done. Been through everything, and these indices are just dead. Absolutely dead this morning. We've got to this high and we are really, really stuck here. Not going to be in a minute. I'll give it another 15-20 minutes and I think we'll be off again. It's just whether or not they're happy with this move this morning, and they're going to come down and try this DAX move, but I don't know. Big round number we're stuck at. Who knows? But I've got short bias at the moment. Hasn't worked for me this morning so far. But hey. Which is really annoying. I was sitting in $1,200 of profit there. And I thought, yeah, it's working. And I didn't take it. So I'm sitting in $1,800 loss now. But we are stalling, so we'll see. Should hopefully get that break, but if it breaks to the upside, I'll probably leave this alone, I think, until New York. And then see if this morning we can get up to those levels on the US indices. So looking for us to get up to these highs somewhere, which is going to need an ADR push, obviously. So we're going to need a hell of a move in New York to get us up there. I don't think we'll get there in this session, obviously. Too far to go. Not too far though on the Nasdaq. Okay, Dow's already hit. Dead. So 25 minutes. We haven't gone anywhere. Right. So news-wise today, don't worry about anything. We got Saunders speaking, unlikely to do anything this afternoon or whenever that is actually going to happen. It's already happened. 10 o'clock. There you go. So there's no news today. Tomorrow morning we've got Aussie dollar monetary policy. So that one we could have some movement out of. So just be aware of that overnight. We've got Bailey speaking again tomorrow and then Brainard, but Wednesday really is when it all starts to kick off. So potential Australasian moves during Asia, and that's happening actually every single day this week. We've got Aussie dollar released overnight or yen. Yeah, so literally every day this week we are probably going to have a volatile Aussie session. So big question is long or short, Trevor. That is always the big question. Yeah. It's very, very tricky. This is always the problem with technical analysis. When you're doing technical analysis, there are always two obvious possibilities. The problem is we never know, obviously, which one, and we're usually right, but we never time it right. The trouble with futures and short-term scalping, obviously, if you're looking at indices, is you need to be right timing-wise, because that's the most important thing. And at the moment, the market is telling us it's long today, so we should be paying attention to long positions. But equally, we have got resistances coming up, and especially with DAX. So, don't forget, if you're trading the ES and the US, or any of the US indices, and you're not trading the DAX, you can't really rely on the DAX to come and do this to bring the US indices down. Most of the volume is going through the DAX today because obviously it's the Frankfurt session, so it's their stocks which are being moved the most, and that's what drags the other indices with it. But so this is why I concentrate on levels on the DAX in the morning session, because that's really where the money is most of the time being ploughed. So we need to be looking from a technical perspective of what the DAX is likely to do this morning, and we are up around the levels where we should start to see, if we are going to do that, some kind of move to the downside, obviously, if it's going to happen. But we are pushing hard, so we'll see. Tricky one this morning, very tricky. So we're just retesting this 20 level again. 13.020. There we go, we popped it. So another leg up. So begs the question, where are we off to potentially if we are going to go long? Holding 24. That level's no use. Difficult. So see if we hold it. I mean, this again, I could just be taking liquidity to put it down, just hunting out the big orders in there, and then they'll flip it. We'll see. It's sustained strength that I'm looking for. That's the thing we're failing with at the moment. We're just not getting the sustained strength. So at the moment, yeah, we are. There's a lot of big orders coming in. Here we go. We popped out the top there. We want to see that. We want to see green candle. We want to see this. Some sustained momentum. If this thing just now closes back down there, not likely to go anywhere, is it? But tricky morning. I'm going to watch this for a bit longer before I get into any other futures positions, because I've been trying to short it on my accounts this morning and not got anywhere with it, obviously. So I'm not going to enter any more shorts in until I see some sustained selling coming in. Trouble is trying to find a long entry now, and with any long entry you take, you've got to have these levels in mind on the other indices. Kind of getting in with a long bias just before we may flip short on the US. So short-term scalping, need to be out with like 8 ticks or so this morning, I think, rather than trying to play the swing, which is what I've been trying to do this morning, but not getting an entry. Just can't get an entry short that holds. So we will see. So yeah, back tomorrow morning, 7:50. Get ready for the Asian moves every day this week. So anything you're on in any cross with Aussie, New Zealand or yen, be aware of those when you wake up. because you may have some profit ready to take straight away. Oil's just grinding around this morning so far, not really going anywhere. So we've had a little bit of decent momentum to the upside, but we've stalled this morning. Pound US dollar's triggered, so I'm in my initial pound US dollar trade. That's an M5 reversal alert. No, it's not. Oh, I've put it on M1. Right. It's just about to be an M5 reversal alert. There you go. Got lucky. NQ is lagging. Yeah, be a bit careful with these indices this morning. I think we might have a little bit more, another hour or so of upside on it, but this is trouble trying to pick the top on any indice. You're better off just keeping in line with the trend until the trend says I've stopped. It's one of the most difficult things, like, you know, say perma-fading. Trying to perma-fade and mean revert something that is like a steam train going up. You're better off getting on the train and taking small bits out of it as you go. So pound US dollar target wise, I think I'll probably go. I'm just going to set the initial one down there to start with. But if we get, you know, my target always on every trade, if I get into one position and that one position works, my target is always 0.5%. Just get in and get out, get that 0.5%. So that's over 0.5%. So I'm just going to stick it down there at the moment, that TP, and then we'll see where we go this morning. But this double top, obviously, holding is what I'm playing. So potentially, if we get anywhere down towards ADR lows today, I'll probably take that off. Be like just one shot, one kill type trade, in and out, done. But we'll see what happens with this one. So entry on pound US dollar short, and I'm just going to manage the rest of this. So see if I can just get my 0.5% in the bank today from all of this lot. Oil, I think, is probably the best one this morning, but we'll see. If the US dollar starts to power up, obviously that will give you an indication of what's going to happen with the US indices as well, because the US dollar tends to do the inverse a lot of the time to what the indices are doing. We've got a bit of strength starting to show through on these, so if we see the US dollar starting to properly power up, which it's kind of stalling out and potentially looking like it wants to do, that might drive the indices down as well, so we'll see. Okay, so that's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 7:50 usual time. I'll be in the Telegram group if you need anything. But yeah, just manage your positions. If you've got anything that you want to talk about in the Telegram group, any positions you're in with drawdown or anything, let me know. And hopefully we'll squeeze some more out of this in the New York session. So have a good one, guys. Anything you need, come in the Telegram group. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, and I'll see you then.